So speaking about taking video games and putting them in different mediums, what's your topic, Jordan?
Yeah, so even bridging that over into Ratchet and Clank, we're talking about specifically for me different adaptations of video games and different forms of media. And personally, I'm talking about comic books mostly because I've been reading a lot of video game comics recently. But yeah, anything books, novels, animated films, even alternate reality games in your web browser, stuff like that. Anything that you guys like that is, directly connected to one of your favorite video games. Like I said, speaking of Ratchet and Clank, I got this. They've only ever done a 6-issue mini-series for Ratchet and Clank, and it's pretty tough to find, but I got it, and I haven't read it yet, so I'm pretty excited to read it now that I'm playing the PS4 game. Besides that, you know how much I love Assassin's Creed, and they've done like graphic novels before, but they actually just started the first Assassin's Creed ongoing series, and that's on issue 7 this month. And then on top of that, they actually just started Assassin's Creed Templars comic series, which is all about Templars, which are very cool. So loving the Assassin's Creed comic. Other comic adaptations that are really good. Mass Effect has some great comics. Mass Effect Redemption is about Liara T'Soni, if you guys like that character. Just a 4-issue miniseries. Mass Effect Homeworlds is another great one, which is like prequel stories about 4 of the different characters from Mass Effect 1 and 2. And I mean, there's like, I could mention 10 or 20 other Mass Effect comics that are really great, but those are just to name a few. I might think of a couple others while you guys are talking, but what other kind of video game related media are you guys into?
So we're so used to it going the other way, and we see so much of that, Batman, Star Wars, whatever, looking back, I don't know that there's a whole lot that I've enjoyed that went in the path you're talking about. I'm really looking forward to this Assassin's Creed movie. That could potentially be really good. I think that's a great. I mean, if I had to pick a franchise that could become a movie, a video game franchise, that would be one that I think is prime, assuming they do it right.
I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Fassbender's playing. Does the assassin even have a name yet? Is it Altair?
I said Jason Statham. I meant Michael Fassbender. My bad.
I thought that's what you meant earlier.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, my bad.
I just assumed that he was also in the movie, like as a different person.
Wrong white dude. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, they've named him, but I can't remember exactly what it is.
He's not one from the games.
Okay.
No, he's a totally new assassin, and he's also playing the guy in modern day as well.
Yeah.
I would have loved for them to do an Ezio character in the movie. That would be cool. He was, I don't know, I liked him a lot in those games.
I think they're playing it the safe route. Like, if you make a new character, you don't get people pissed at you for telling the story of a character they already fell in love with wrong. And you also get to introduce people that aren't familiar with this world to this world. If the character's strong enough, if it's anything like the good assassins they've written before, I think it'll be solid.
It's smart that they didn't just, adapt Assassin's Creed 1 for that.
Exactly. For me, like Dom, it's hard for me to think about things going in the opposite direction. Mass Effect is my favorite franchise, but I haven't gotten around to reading the novels and the comics, which I kind of feel bad for. I need to. I love that universe so much, so I'm kind of holding myself back from enjoying it more until I get Andromeda, so it's kind of my fault. I need to get into those. 2 things that come off at the top of my head when you first said this were there was a Portal fan film on YouTube that came out like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. That was really solid. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they basically took Chell and put her in her. I think it was a retelling or something like that. It wasn't from Portal or Portal 2. It was like, I think it was telling the story in between the games.
I've seen that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. The other thing was really recent. Eli Roth did an animated little short film of Dark Souls 3. Did you guys see that?
What? Where?
I heard about it.
Yeah, it's on the internet. Just Google Eli Roth Dark Souls 3. It's really short. I wouldn't consider it a short film. I think it's only like a minute long.
It's called a clip.
Yeah. It's really cool, though. It's really well done. It feels very Dark Souls-y. It has a very Dark Souls-y end, which is cool. As far as I can't think of anything that's video game related that I intake outside of video games. Off the top of my head, I don't read any comics that are video game related. There's obviously not movies.
What about novels, for example? I'm reading the Mass Effect novels while I'm waiting for the second game, and that would be great to tide you over to Andromeda.
I know, I need to.
The second one's called Ascension, which is named after the ship, or the project, I'm sorry.
Yep.
But
in the famous God of War game.
Yeah, the first one's Revelation. That's all about Saren and him being a Spectre, and they're both really good. Written by Drew Karpyshyn. Shout out to him. He's an awesome author. Writes a lot of Star Wars stuff. But yeah, like Mass Effect novels are great. Bioshock has a prequel novel that's cool. Have you read any novels like that?
No, like I was stating, I need to get into the Mass Effect stuff. As far as like, I'm trying to think of other video game franchises I would even really care enough about to do that kind of stuff with. And Mass Effect is the one that keeps pounding me in the head of like, you need to do this. You're dumb for not reading them. I'm like I said,
you gotta check them out.
I'm doing myself a disservice. I'm sitting here complaining that Andromeda got delayed, and I'm not getting my fulfillment of everything in the Mass Effect universe. So.
There you go, man. It'll tide you over.
Yep.
You just mentioned Bioshock. That could be a novel. That could be a movie. I'd be into that.
A Bioshock movie?
Yeah.
There's a novel about how like the city of Rapture was built.
That would be awesome.
Bioshock. It's called Rapture. Bioshock Rapture. And then shout out to the Uncharted stuff. I haven't read. There's a book. I haven't read the novel, but I have read the comic series, and that's another 6-issue miniseries, and that's really cool. Uncharted works awesome as a comic.
You know what I would read? The Konami crash of 2015. That's what I would read. If somebody were to write a book about that, everything in that whole thing, like all of it, just how everything played out, how everything happened. You can even throw in the stuff with PT and everything. Like, I was going to say a documentary story. I just want to know everything that happened.
Speaking of the Konami crash, they did this really cool thing where they turned Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 into graphic novels, digital graphic novels.
That's cool.
And they're like motion comics.
That's really cool.
And so it's like the whole game's cutscenes as a motion comic, and it's really cool if you're into Metal Gear Solid.
I've always loved the idea of a Last of Us movie or a Last of Us novel, but we have that. It's called The Road. And I've seen the movie.
Also, if you want that, I'm going to recommend to you The Last of Us American Dreams, which is 4 comics. And it's like, it's a prequel to The Last of Us about Ellie and her friend from
Left Behind.
The Left Behind DLC. So it's like, if you play The Last of Us main campaign, play Left Behind, and you read the comic, they all 3 connect into like a triangle.
Okay, cool.
Really cool.
I think Heavy Rain could be a pretty solid movie.
It already is a movie, isn't it?
Heavy Rain?
No.
Well, I mean, like...
I get what you're saying, the game.
I get it.
Real quick, I think before we get off this subject, since we were talking about video games being turned into other mediums, if you could name one thing that isn't a video game right now that you'd want to see a video game form of, what would it be?
One thing that what?
One thing that isn't a video game that you'd want in video game form.
Like a media franchise or just
it could be a franchise, it could be a character, it could be anything.
Oh, Daredevil.
You want a Daredevil video game?
You actually don't even need a disc. You just need a
That'd be
TV.
cool.
So
you don't even need electricity.
Is it like Ace Attorney meets like Arkham?
It's just a black screen.
A lawyer game and an action game?
No, it's just a black screen. Like.
Oh, because he's blind. Wow. All right. Actually, there would be red in there. He sees the world on fire.
So I mentioned that I was reading the Walking Dead comic to tide me over till next season, but I was kind of like getting through that too fast. So to slow myself down, I went with the Invincible comic, also by Robert Kirkman.
I want to read that. And I've heard so much good about that.
If you guys haven't heard or read Invincible the comic, I would definitely recommend it. And it's superhero stuff, so there's all different kinds of superheroes and supervillains in that comic that would be totally cool for a video game. And you know me, I love a good third-person superhero game. So,
question: give me a really quick pitch as to why I would like that comic and the main character, the main protagonist.
Well, do you like superhero comics in general?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's one cool thing is the fact that you don't know any of these heroes and they're not like tired in your mind of, oh yeah, Spider-Man making another joke, I get it, or whatever. It's totally fresh to you.
And they're not tied to anything that you expect to see.
Right.
Yeah.
They're totally totally new and being introduced to you in the comic, so that's really cool. And then it has a hook. I don't know if you've ever heard Greg talking about it on Kind of Funny, but there is something that kind of changes in like issue 12 or 13 that kind of hooks you into the series and is part of the overall narrative.
Okay.
But if you enjoy superhero stuff, man, it's just overall a great superhero comic, even without the hook that I won't spoil for you. So I'd recommend it. And if you get to like 15 and you're still not feeling it, you're probably not going to love it.
Can I get it on what's the best avenue for it? Comixology or?
Sure. Like you have a tablet or something to read on? That's how I usually read comics on my tablet or my computer just because they fit so well on there. But yeah, there's Comixology app for iOS.
Sweet. To answer my own question, I asked you guys about like a franchise I would like to see in video game form. I just want, like, we talked about this before, but like more superhero games. Obviously, you have your Infamous.
Yes.
But like, I just want more superhero games. And it's like, oh, it's flooding the market. There's already enough movies. I don't care. I want more superhero games.
Still, why don't we have a Superman game?
Have you seen Superman 64?
You're right. I should go back and play that.
No, you shouldn't. I had to watch. There's a channel called The Completionist. That one video gamer. He completes games. Obviously, he completed that game in February. Arguably the worst game I've ever seen, and I didn't even play it. It's awful. He seems so defeated by that game. It's so bad.
It's pretty messed up. Yeah.
I would want to see. I like Hulk. Hulk is my favorite superhero, but there's no way you can make a game where it's not like a demolition game, and those kind of games aren't really fun to me. So it's like that. I don't think it just really doesn't work in video game form.
Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction for PS2 and Xbox and GameCube.
I hated it.
It was a great one.
I rented it. I didn't like it because.
I mean, there's a lot of destruction, but there's it's a superhero game with a story and characters and stuff. It's cool.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out the Controlled Interest Gamecast. If you want to stay up to date, remember to subscribe on YouTube and iTunes, and give us a follow on SoundCloud and on Twitter at CTRLINT. #SmashTheDunst.